Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and namaste. Myself, Jayesh Pavnani, as a host of ICICT 2022. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the technical session 7C. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 7th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology through Zoom. Further, as you are well aware, we have been facing new normal situations while overcoming the pandemic. Hence, the conference has been shifted to a hybrid mode. We are very thankful to everyone present on this platform to go along with us digitally for the conference in these unpredictable circumstances and making this conference more productive. Also, we wish everyone and the family a protected time. We hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive digital sessions. Also, there is a special note for our presenters. Will be given 10 to 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for question and answers. On 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder and I request while the presentation is going on, other participants kindly be muted. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till our closing remarks. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce you to all the chairperson for the session, Dr. Prakshit Narendra Mahale. I would like to welcome to you, sir, to the session and for chairing this session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I will give a short brief information for the professor. Dr. Prakshit Narendra Mahale is a professor and head Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science at Vishwakarma Institute of Information Technology, Pune. Since 1st July 2021, Dr. Prakshit Mahale has obtained his BE degree in Computer Science and Engineering from Saint Gadbe Baba Amravati University and MA degree in a Computer Engineering from Savitribai Phule, Pune. Thank you, sir, for chairing the session. Now, we would like to start with the papers, and I would like to invite the first presenter, Moharam Lubis, and the name of the paper title is Security Awareness Domain. Security Awareness Domain and Resources Framework based on Activity Domain for Product Use, Case Study in Banking Industry. I would request the presenter please start sharing the screen and start the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let me share screen. I'm still being disabled. Can I have the permission to share screen, please?
Yes, you have.
I would request you to please start share screen and try it once more.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity to present here. So I will present our research paper about the assessment of network configuration management and data stewardship in Indonesian boarding school. So a network management system refer to a group of applications that allow the administrator to monitor and control network component. The management protocol is really crucial for central to communicate with administration agent for effective and efficient process. In general, it is a service that uses various protocol, tools, application, and device to help network administrator manage appropriate network resource in a way that can be managed either hardware or software to satisfy the network service needs and objective. Of course, when problem occurs or happen, configuration management can search the database or information or clues to solve the problem because it's related to the setting, to the specification of the computer itself, such as the operational status of the interface, and then any information, any related information such as forwarding from routing table. And then when performance becomes unacceptable, the system reacts by sending message. So it will notify to the administrator about what really happened right now. So this study want to explore the practical issue that arise when specific organization, in this case higher education, how they can implement configuration management system and data stewardship properly by assessing their business process and standard operational. So we already search the literature review to get the state of the art as well as the current condition about the standard, the best practice, and how the network administrator around the world solve the problem and publish the case study about that. And then many propose such as the bad effect if it's still do not consider as the priority, such as loss of critical data, unfavorable result, waste money, and then there are also information about the focus not only about the data but also about the format, about the types, as well as the data architecture. And then we think we should try to align between configuration management and data stewardship. We cannot separate these two process into different category. So ensuring and improving the quality and ease of use is a vital part of scientific monitoring of digital environmental data product. But the role of the person responsible for managing quality has been evolved over time, is not always well defined. Okay, so this research used on-site observation to obtain a whole picture of the network topology in the boarding school area. So we focus to the small scale first, to have clear distinction between role, between the physical infrastructure over there, and then how the activity have been conducted over there. So this the network device in this case include ISP routers from IndiHome. It is the service provider in Indonesian. And then Remala, so they using two service provider. So there are also bandwidth management router over there. There are switches, there are access point, there are Wi-Fi routers. So it starts from the central office building, that control everything. There are also configuration management over there, and then it flow to the school, to the other building, separated by 3 areas with one switch on each side. So the switch connected to the end of device like personal computer and access point used by 4 computer laboratories, administration office, and teacher office. So the first service provider, is not connected to the central office building, but is directly connected to another ISP for the junior and senior high school office. In Indonesia, we call it SMP and SMA. So the next building is TV studio, located behind the campus, and then one switch is connected to 7 VCs and 2 ISP Wi-Fi routers to support TV studio activity, like let's say like broadcasting and any other activity to spread the information around the boarding school or around the campus. And then next to the studio, there's a dormitory office, which one that have one switch and Wi-Fi router located. So as you can see in this figure, is explain the detail of the network topology for the location of the network device. And then further from those building before that we already saw previously, there are also radio station, and it is for the guests. If the people from the outside want to go, they will put into the in. And then it is side by side. The location is really close to each other. And then in there are also switch. There are 3 PCs and Wi-Fi router that located in radio station, while in the inn, yeah, it is only Wi-Fi router directly connected to the central office. And then the network topology, yeah, as we know, yeah, it is the arrangement of the element, yeah, so people can visualize easily, yeah, how the position, yeah, even though it's not really necessary imitate the map, yeah, because the map there are scale over there, yeah, so we can know directly. But at least by having topology, we know for sure how the network happen over there, yeah, because there are layout over there. Okay, so this is the another table, yeah, that show the topology of this network, yeah, in the boarding school. And then based on maturity result, yeah, after we do the assessment, as we know, yeah, the matrix based data set maturity assessment model, it serves, yeah, as the guidance to the user regarding the rigors, how we can put this kind of data stewardship into the practice, yeah. So in this case, we define, yeah, the kind of attributes, and then after that, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's still only in the position that the organizer or the administrator over there do not prioritize, yeah, many attribute in data stewardship. Only two, yeah, that got priority, yeah, traceability and usability. So many things that should be improved in this case. And then by having the configuration assessment, in this case, there are 8 that we try to assess, yeah, software version control, IP address management, naming convention, DNS, DHCP assignment, standard configuration, description, configuration, upgrade procedure, and solution templates. So many things already implement, yeah. It's kindly opposite, yeah, with the data stewardship. Yeah, at least we can praise, yeah, for the effort, yeah, to allow the process in configuration management got prioritized. And then yeah, of course, yeah, it has really related, yeah, to the human resource over there, yeah. Not only the quantity, the number of the people over there, but also the skill, yeah, the communication, the training, yeah, the time, yeah, that provided, yeah, because certain people, they got more tasks need to do, yeah, become the teacher as well as technicians, yeah, and any other related issue that we need to investigate further. And then yeah, the idea related to the adaptation, of course, yeah, to be interconnected with this kind of activity, yeah, as the work pattern. So many steps we can do, yeah, to improve configuration management, yeah, such as avoiding configuration changes, yeah, before applying them, and then verifying the configuration against company or the organization policies, and then try to follow with the certain standard, yeah, to make it easy the implementation, yeah, such as PCI, and then HIPAA, yeah, HIPAA or ITIL, yeah, it is to reduce the room, yeah, for the manual error, because everything already done automatically by having this kind of standard, as well as try to match, yeah, this standard that suggested by the multi-vendor, yeah, for the best performance. Yeah, it is to simplify the deployment of standard configuration across multiple device, yeah, because yeah, we cannot neglect the decision to buy certain device based on, yeah, cheap the price, yeah, if it is cheap, the organization will buy. So it is at long term, it can become the problem, yeah, interoperability, etc. So it's better to match, yeah, with the optimization suggested by the vendor first, and then it's also need to build the restriction, yeah, access, and establish the certain instrument, yeah, to maintain the baseline, uh, uh, to define, yeah, the critical thing, yeah, that need to be avoided, and then find out at the end, yeah, we try to find out the device, yeah, that are running, and the network, yeah, monitor this kind of device, yeah, to make sure it's not go excessively. And then we also need to remove, yeah, any unused device, yeah, to make it balance the consumption of the energy. Okay, the conclusion, this research was conducted through on-site observation, yeah, to obtain a whole picture of the network topology, and then carry out an assessment using the best practice. Yeah, so this assessment show that 3 practices have not been implemented, yeah, which is DNS, DSCP assignment, configuration upgrade procedure, and solution template. And then based on this assessment result, it is hoped that this boarding school can improve the implementation of its network management so that it has positive impact on the overall condition of the network. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful presentation. I would like to introduce to the chairperson if any of the questions for the speaker. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Morman, I have 2 questions. The first question is, when you trace this entire network, what was the size of log file?
What, sorry, what it is the size of?
Log file which you maintain for one entire transaction, maybe for 1 day, maybe for 1 hour.
Okay, I'm not sure, yeah, I just got reported by my student related to the network topology. So I guess they do not check, yeah, the number of the transaction that happen, but based on the daily activity, the mostly the network only use in certain period of time, yeah, let's say when the student want to do let's say like tutorial, yeah, in the computer course, yeah, so it's not really in the, what we call it, in the jam,
Okay.
traffic jam, yeah, but
Fine,
let's
fine.
say in the beginning of registration, yeah, it's also traffic jam, yeah, but for this study, it is our limitation.
Okay, another question is, have you observed some attacks on the network during this entire installation?
Okay, what is it? How?
Have you observed some attacks, network attacks on the topology?
Okay, for the attacks, the, what we call it, the boarding school, yeah, they're using 2 tires, yeah. So
Okay.
it's also, yeah, we suggested it's not really good, yeah. It's better to have 3 tire, yeah. At least if the attacks from the outside, yeah, it's not directly impact to the what we call it, to the PC, yeah, or the inner cycle, yeah, but it's another topic, yeah. So in this case, we only focus to the configuration management, not to the security management.
Fine, thank you. I'm
Okay,
done.
welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, now moving on to the next presentation, we have the paper title is Assessment of Network Configuration Management and Data Stewardship in Indonesian Boarding School. And for to represent this, again, we will like to invite Mohammed Lubis. Over to you, sir. I would request you to share the screen and start the presentation with the same.
So thank you again for the opportunity. So we will present our topic about security awareness domain resource framework based on the activity domain for product use, case study in banking industry. Okay, so right now we focus to the ERP implementation, in the banking industry. As you know, ERP is really popular software used, by the organization for various reasons, such as define planning, to manage the operation, and then ERP system has a number of operating system and requirement, which is require accurate and productive data entry to allow the process in the right track. Therefore, several problems bring disaster to the implementation of ERP, such as the conflict of agreement in terms of structure, function, culture, resource, procedure, social capacity, and inter-organizational management to generate decision making. Meanwhile, the integration of the ERP system into the company business process also provide great complexity, which occasionally lead to the difficulty in terms of adjustment, standardization, and customization for the administration phase. When a company loses its flexibility, it will lead to the increasing number of workload, meeting and training program to align with the ERP features accordingly. So this study want to explore by using SADAR framework. It is the framework that we already established in certain period, to assess the recognition, the awareness of the people in measuring or in ensuring security take place. So we, in this case, we focus to the activity domain as our extension for the framework, to explore the kind of the factor that influence the security based on activity domain. So this is to define the exact and detail in terms of strategy and measure in giving direction of progress leading to the objective. Okay, sorry. So in short, I guess we can say that ERP or enterprise resource planning is complement the business function to support internal business process of the organization through several mutually integrated software modules. Unfortunately, the number of the user that recognize the importance of information security awareness can be categorized in the low level, due to the lack of policy and strategy that emphasize there are certain employee that do or perform risky action in the communication mode. So such as 2019 survey that was conducted, I guess, by Semantic, that saw around 4,000, I guess, 4,000 unique sites were compromised with the form jacking code every month in 2018, which could generate an income up to I guess 2 million, 2 million for cyber criminal every month, with more than 70 millions database record stolen or leaked as a result of poor information security awareness. Even though it is still the assumption that say the employee over there have the lack of awareness, but the fact there are profit loss over there. So the service provider or the telecommunication provider, it is suggested, I guess not only them, but also another company should learn from this case, to improve the awareness in the organization, by emphasizing the information distribution, let's say through training program or through the campaign, to make sure the preventive measure already take place. Okay, so this is our framework, by having the extension in activity domain. Yeah, as you can see in here, we have 4 domain: the individual domain, the environmental domain, and then the institutional domain. Yeah, in the what we call it, in the below. Yeah, in the top there are individual, in the right side it is the institutional, and then in the left side it is the activity domain. And then in each domain we have indicator, and then in the outer side, yeah, in the outer cycle, yeah, let's say like PT, IC, it is intention to comply. PX, it is the peer compliance, yeah. RE, it is religion indicator, yeah. We put here, yeah, because we try to differentiate the kind of contextual setting, yeah, that Indonesian have. Yeah, we try to see whether the indicator in religion give the effect or the influence to the awareness. Yeah, while in the West, I guess they explore the importance of the ethics or the importance of the responsibility. And then in the left side it is the perceived threats. Yeah, after training program and then privacy compliance. Yeah, we think perceived threats can moderating or can influence, yeah, how certain employee understand or aware in certain level or certain degree based on this moderating factor. So this is our list of indicator use, yeah, with respective statement. So we distribute this question, yeah, to the employee in the banking industry. So we using different context in here. Previously we using in the education, yeah, but we still use the same survey questionnaire. Okay, as you can see, this is in the left side it is the label, and then in the right side it is the statement, yeah, and every indicator, yeah, at least there are 3 or 5 indicators. Okay, so we go directly to the goodness of it after we do the generate using Amos. So in this analysis, yeah, using structural equation model, yeah, the estimation method, it is often used maximum likelihood, which will be effective. It has a sample size between 150 until 600. But there are also another study that suggests if we try to explore, it is sufficient to have 30 until 50. So in this case, we try to explore, yeah, first. So even though we only use small sample, I guess is really sufficient, yeah, to check, yeah, whether the variable that we add to the framework, it is have the correlation to the other. And then the sample size, yeah, of course it's really needed, yeah, depend on the complexity of the model and as well the estimation method that we use. And then of course we also consider the characteristic of the distribution of the observed variables. So like I said, yeah, there are also the opinion, I guess, that try to counter, yeah, the argument of the small size, yeah, even though they say, yeah, the SAM should be 20 times higher, yeah, the number of parameter used. So they do not use the sample based on the population, but the sample based on the indicator that we want to check, yeah. It should be from the range of 5 to the 20 times. So this is another argument. So we provide in here, yeah, even though we choose the differently or oppositely in this case. So the model fit test, it is also called goodness of fit. It is the test that we conducted that has purpose to test whether the proposed model is fit, yeah, even though not everybody agree, yeah, with the term of fit, yeah, because there's no such thing as the fit, but we, for this case, we agree, yeah, to the one that pro to the definition. So based on the GOF or goodness of fit estimation result, as you can see in here, yeah, the model looks less fit, yeah. If this model will be used for further research, yeah, it should be, let's say, put another variable, yeah, to make sure, yeah, it can increase to become fit, yeah, or to reduce or prevent, yeah, the estimation result to be biased, yeah. So this also can be done, yeah, by reducing the shape of the equation, yeah, or as well the path, yeah, that as you can see in the previous model that we already saw. So the question of the concept of goodness fit, of course, it's really related to the how we define the model rigorously or closely enough. So this is of course a concept that is difficult to define, yeah, in the specific or certain case. So the difficulty is really necessary to fully indicate that specific purpose of the research. So for this case, we can use alternatively the regression, I guess, yeah, to check, yeah, whether regression statistic give different result or not, or any other prediction type of analysis, yeah, still use regression. So far, it is fair to assume that many research has been conducted in this area, but no one, or let's see, small research, small number of research that has devised a complete measure of the suitable in the term of statistical models. So the measurement for goodness of fit in this case, yeah, at least provide the alternative view, yeah, for the model evaluation in the general. So hypothesis testing result can be seen from the printed output, yeah, as you can see in the figure that show the path diagram, yeah, in a significant relationship, yeah. There are t value that must be greater than the t table, yeah, marked with t value. As you can see in the black, yeah, black is acceptable, while while the red color it is ignore, yeah, or reject. So the diagram, the path diagram, yeah, it is that we use, the value is 91.96. So meanwhile, the insignificant relationship, yeah, is established, yeah, with a t value, with also in the path diagram with a value less than 1.96. 1.96. So based on the table below, the value distribution, so that not all factors affect the state of information security, yeah, in banking company. So the variable that have significant influence include, as you can see, there are self-attitude, self-cognitive, intention to comply, policy compliance, yeah, training programs, perceived threats, prior experience, and talent management. So those are the one that's significant to the information security awareness. So in fact, planning, yeah, prior to the approval of ERP implementation, it should be ensure, yeah, it should be encompass many of business issue, because before the implementation, I guess yeah, the employee somehow do not have the standing yet to reject or to complain or to give suggestion, yeah, to certain customization that can be done to the ERP product itself. Yeah, so they just accepted whatever the top down, sorry, the top executive asked them to do. So of course it's better to have system decision over there, because at certain aspect before the implementation of ERP, there are the process of consultation, yeah, with the consultant, by, yeah, especially by the banking industry, because banking is really fragile if what we call it, if the implementation got failed, yeah. And then based on the hypothesis test, yeah, the addition of the collaboration working and continuous monitoring, yeah, it is another variable that we use in here. It so does not significantly affect the the security awareness, yeah, in the company. So the implementation of ERP in the banking industry is still not based on security awareness. So it is really surprisingly the result, yeah, because even though they do the, what we call it, the command or the instruction strictly, yeah, effectively, but somehow they just do based on the, yeah, let's say like KPI, key performance indicator, but for the awareness itself, they do not really pay the attention. So I guess the implementation of regulation should be seen, yeah, to understand more about this phenomenon. And then another thing that we need to understand, maybe the facility that they use, yeah, is it already based on the standard or no? And then as well as the skill, I guess, or the competence of the employee itself, yeah. Is it really sufficient, only one training, let's say, or the supervision process from the senior to the junior? Yeah. Okay, so this is the distribution, yeah. As you can see in here, yeah, there are 2 staff, 3 manager and director as well, yeah, that we ask, yeah, differently to check, yeah, or to improve or adding more information, yeah, to understand what really happened over there. Okay, so the criteria that we use in here, the kind of interview relate to the different module that use in ERP, as well as how the process, is it really make easy or not, the utilization, the control process, the monitoring process, the completing tasks on the time, on time, etc.
You are muted.
Sorry. I guess that's all for our presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. On what basis you're saying that, you know, 7 hypotheses are accepted and remaining are rejected?
Okay, in this case, we only saw the goodness of fit, yeah. But before we do the goodness of fit, we also conducted reliability and validity and reliability analysis, yeah. But because the page cannot be compromised, so we only saw the goodness of fit over there.
And in your hypothesis testing, how you decided your threshold values?
it is based on the T table.
And what is the base for that table? I don't understand how you have formed the values, and then from that values you have carried out the hypothesis testing.
Okay, so there are degree of freedom, yeah, based on the population. So the statistician already put it over there. So if the degree of confidence is 90%, so they're using this kind of threshold. If using 95% of degree of confidence, we using this one, as well as 99%, we using this one. So it is another process, yeah, that discussed in the statistician. But for this case, we just check, we try to match if it is already accommodated in the threshold, yeah. So meaning it is accepted. But we try to see from another perspective. So in this case, we using goodness of fit to make sure or to make confidence our result after we do reliability and validity
Right,
analysis
right.
in
Yeah.
the previous.
Yeah, thank you. Good work.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for the valuable presentation and your
Okay,
valuable time.
welcome.
Now, moving to the next paper. The paper title is Models for Estimation of Concrete Compressive Strength Based on Experimental Research with Destructive and Non-Destructive Methods. I would like to invite Ivan Ivanchev for this presentation. I would like to request the presenter, please share the screen and start the presentation.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ivan Ivanchev, and yeah, I'm trying to share the screen, but I cannot yet. May you permit me? Sorry. Now it's fine. Thank you. So again, one more time. Good afternoon, everybody. So my presentation is entitled Models for Estimation of Concrete Compressive Strength based on the experimental research with destructive and non-destructive methods. I'm working in the University of Architecture, Civil Engineering and Geodesy in Sofia, Bulgaria. So what is the aim of this article? It's presenting experimental studies for assessing the compressive strength of concrete. For this reason, 12 cube test specimens, 12 reinforced concrete beams, and 11 cores which were drilled from the beams were prepared in one day of the same recipe composition of concrete. For 2 years, the members were indoors, and in the following years, they were left outdoors to external atmospheric influences. The non-destructive methods which were used were SONREP methods and separately method of elastic rebound, ultrasonic pulse velocity method. So models have been developed at age of concrete 1126th and 1926th day. So as an introduction, I can tell that one of the most important mechanical property of the concrete is its compressive strength. It could be determined via destructive or non-destructive tests. The most reliable one are the destructive tests, where we test standard test specimens which were prepared during the construction of the building or the test members. The other methods are NDT, non-destructive techniques. They are widely used in practice, and the most popular are the method of elastic rebound, ultrasonic pulse velocity method, and another methods. So about methods used in this research, we have 4 methods. These are respectively the method of elastic rebound, non-destructive ultrasonic pulse velocity method, combined SONREP method, and destructive method. A few words about each one. First method of elastic rebound. Here it is used the so-called Schmidt Hammer. By the Schmidt Hammer, we determine the surface hardness of the concrete and hence the probabilistic compressive strength of concrete. We can do this in brand new buildings or in existing reinforced concrete buildings when we make some conditional assessment of the current state. So the Schmidt Hammer is measuring the magnitude of an elastic rebound of a spring-loaded steel body. Non-destructive pulse velocity method, ultrasonic pulse velocity method, UPVM, is using the propagation of ultrasonic waves, which are induced into concrete. The measuring instrument is consisting of oscillator, shunt generator, transmitter, receiver, amplifier, and reading device. From the ultrasonic signal velocity, the probabilistic compressive strength could be determined. The next one method is the so-called SONREP method. It uses the combination of UPVM and method of elastic rebound. So to obtain the compressive strength, we need destructive tests of standard test specimens. These test specimens could be cubes or cores which are drilled from the reinforced concrete beams or reinforced concrete columns. It depends on the aim. So to assess the compressive strength in a random point of the structure, we must make a correlation curve. In the literature, different authors are giving and reporting different empirical correlations. They could be with linear, power, exponential, or polynomial type. In case where we don't have any data about the concrete, the most commonly used is the equation, power equation, which is given as a Formula 1. In this formula, A, B, and C are constants. V is the ultrasonic pulse velocity, and R is the rebound number determined with the Schmidt Hammer. So the values of the factors A, B, and C are obtained via correlation curves. Fourth one method is the most reliable one, but it has very adverse effect on the buildings, is the destructive methods. They are the sharpest one, but the negative thing here is that we make a violation on the buildings, on the members, and sometimes we make failures inside them, which are not easy to be repaired. So some few words about the experimental setup. On figure 1, you could see the test specimens which were used. You can see the 12 reinforced concrete beams, the 12, the cubes and the cores, the cylindrical cores which were drilled from the beams. Now, so about the research, part of the research was done on the 12 reinforced concrete beams. They are situated in 4 series. The different series we have a variation in the provided longitudinal reinforcement, concrete cover, and reinforcement ratio. I may tell that the used concrete is of grade or concrete class C2530. We have a fine fraction of the coarse aggregate and consistency as 3. About the cubes, we use 12 cubes with dimensions 150, 150, and 150 millimeters. They are casted in the same day with the beams, and the tests on the cubes are made on HF concrete 1126th day. All the measurements are performed according to the European standards EN 12390 part 1, part 2, and EN 12351. About the cores, they were drilled at age 1926 days, there with a diameter phi 100 millimeters and depth ranging from 151 to 156 millimeters, from braces without visible cavities, cracks, pores, defects, reinforcement, etc. So the measurements with the course is according the standard EN 12504-1, and the ratio after preparation before destructive testing of this course they were prepared by cutting off their ends, and they become cylinders with a depth and a diameter which are equal to each other, 100 millimeters. So it means L over D ratio is equal to 1. Now the tests. The rebound number is determined on age of concrete 1126 day. It's determined on cubes which are compressed on testing machine, as you can see on the figure. And the rebound number is in the range between 44 and 49.5. On the age of concrete 1926 days, the Schmidt Hammer is used on the concrete beams, and the tests were made in the points where the cores are drilled later. Here, the median value of the rebound is a little greater, as you can see. It's ranging from 45 to 52. So the rebound number increases with the age. So about the UPVM, a portable Prosec Tico ultrasonic device is used for the experiment. You can see this device on figure 2. So the transmitter is, and the receiver has a frequency 54 kilohertz and resolution 0.1 microseconds. The tests are made on reinforced concrete specimens at age 101,026 day and on the beams on age 1,926. So the velocity at the first test day, the velocity V is ranging from 4.34 to 4.44 kilometers per second. And on the second day, it's ranging from 4.58 to 4.88 kilometers per second. So again, we can tell that the ultrasonic speed signal speed is increasing with the age. About the cores and the cubes, you can see the testing machine. They are tested on a testing machine, a control small to max 5, corresponding to EN 12394. They are compressed till their failure, and the compressive strength is determined. So on age 1,126 days, the strength is ranging from 40 to 47.1 megapascals, and on age 1,926 days, varying
Sorry for the
from.
interruption, sir. This is just a reminder that you have 1 minute more to go. Due to the time,
Sorry?
This is to remind you that when you have 1 minute more for your presentation. Due to the time
Okay, so
restrictions.
I will skip this part in this case. Thank you, and I will continue with the curves. So there are curves which are from the analytical models. You can see the relation of compressive strength via the rebound number R, or compressive strength via the ultrasonic pulse velocity. The next thing which I want to show is another curve, which is compressive strength by some rep with compressive strength which is determined with cubes. You can see that R square coefficient is close to 1, so we have a very good pass. And the last one thing which is done here is iso strength curves, which are performed for the 2 days of examination. They are very comfortable because we may not do a destructive or some kind of invasion on the structure. We can make only non-destructive measurements of the ultrasonic pulse velocity, which is x-axis, and rebound number, which is r-axis, and we can see from these iso curves the predicted iso strength via some rep method. And as a conclusion, I may skip this. If you have any question, you can ask me. If I have time, I will tell the conclusion, as you decide.
Thank you so
Okay,
much, sir,
thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful presentation. I would request the chairperson if any of the question for the speaker. Over to
Okay.
you, sir.
Yeah, Ivan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, sir.
Don't you think that your slides were very disappointing? as you just try to put your paper on the slides, instead of that you would have make it more formatting and bulleting.
Sorry. Okay, maybe they are.
Because this is a presentation, this is not to read the paper, and the way you present, prepare your slides, like you just copied your contents from the paper and posted on the slides, right? So this is a
Okay.
paper presentation where readers and every audience is expecting that you should present the entire summary and gist of the paper, right?
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
I
for
hope
this.
you are agree with me.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
So can you show me where you have compared your result with some state of the art?
With some state of the art, there is no comparison with state of art because I use the standards in the Eurocode. We have some compressive strengths, and I'm making only comparison between different methods.
Yeah,
But
but in literature there must be some potential work where you can compare your results and you can prove that
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For
So
sure, I can make it.
yeah, can you explain some application of your work?
Yeah, the application is when you make a conditional assessment of an existing building and you want to know the concrete which is used for the shear walls, for the structure at all, and you don't have any documentation. For example, the building is built 60 years ago and you don't have any information.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable presentation. We would
Thank you.
be moving to the further presentation, and I would like to invite the next speaker, Nazar Salih, and the paper title is Detection of Retinopathy of Prematurity Stages, Utilization Deep Neural Networks. Over to you, sir. I would request you to please kindly share your screen and start with the presentation.
Yeah, all presenters are requested to follow the time, please. Thank you. Yeah,
Could you help me, sir?
Yeah, please continue, please.
My name is Nazar Saleh. I'm from Iraq. I'm a PhD student in University of Safakis, Information and Communication Sciences and Technologies. The title of our research paper is the detection of retinopathy of prematurity stages utilizing deep neural networks. Retinopathy of prematurity is a primary cause of blindness in children worldwide. ROP is one of the most dangerous and deadly problems that can occur in the eye of preterm babies. Out of 15 million premature births worldwide, 53,000 children require ROP treatment every year. The objective of our study is to improve the clinical decision and support the doctor for a better diagnosis to detect the retinopathy of prematurity stages, to validate and also to validate deep learning in classification of retinopathy of prematurity. Large training data sets and annotation for medical images are the most significant challenge to medical image analysis. What is the retinopathy of prematurity? ROP happens in premature babies when abnormal blood vessels start developing at the back of the eye. In a premature baby, these blood vessels have not finished forming, so they continue to form after the baby is born. Most of the time they will form normally and there will be no problem. But if smaller and abnormal vessels start developing, the condition is called ROP, retinopathy of prematurity. How common is ROP? Not all premature infants have ROP. Babies who are born earlier than 30 weeks or with a birth weight of less than 1.5 kilogram are at greater risk for retinopathy of prematurity. International classification of ROP. The international classification of retinopathy of prematurity was published in two parts. First part in 1984 and the second part in 1987. International classification can abbreviated as ICROP. ROP classification is done by using the international classification. ROP is classified based on the severity and location and also extent of the disease. The diagnosis of ROP is sub-classified by zones, stages, and plus disease. This is the stages of ROP, stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1.
Your slides are not moving.
Sorry.
Your slides are not moving. No.
This is stage of ROP, stage 1 and stage 2. It's clear?
No, it is still on the introduction slide. Yeah, please continue.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's moving.
Now it's okay.
Yeah.
Stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1, as we see, it's a thin demarcation line, thin line between vascularized and non-vascularized retina. In stage 2, sorry, in stage 1, if there is a line which develop, it is stage 1. But in stage 2, if this line has a volume, so it is stage 2. Stage 3, if it is start developing blood vessels, then it becomes a stage 3, a lot of fibro through vascular. In stage 4, partial retinal detachment. In stage 5, complete retinal detachment. This is an overview of the stages of ROP. Now we are going to talk about the RETCAM. RETCAM means retina camera. It is a wide-angle pediatric retinal imaging system useful for screening retinopathy of prematurity. For the last 15 years, the use of new technologies has facilitated the early diagnosis and treatment of ROP by using the RETCAM machines. This device, RETCAM, can be used for diagnosis and follow-up, and also for documentation of ROP. Now we are going to talk about the data set. a total of 3,720 fundus images from the ROP screening from 2015 to 2019 were collected from the private clinic Al-Amal Eye Center in Baghdad, Iraq. All images were obtaining using a RedCam image system. The resolution of the fundus images were 640 by 480 pixels. Through they are resized to 224 by 224 when inputting to our deep learning models. The dataset utilized for training, evaluation, and testing the model is split at random as summarized in table 1. The study includes 2 senior ophthalmologists who have worked with ROP patients for more than 15 years. In this study, we selected 10 models from several classification models, each with a varied number of layers to cover a wide range of models such as VGG16, ResNet, 5.0 ResNet 101, and version 152, and also SqueezeNet version 1.1 and 1.0, and DenseNet 121 and DenseNet 169, and also AlexNet, and lastly Inception version 3. All these 10 deep neural network models were selected to achieve our primary aim to detecting ROP stages. From
Sorry
these,
for the interruption, sir. This is a reminder for you that you have 2 minutes more for your presentation.
okay. From these outcomes, it's selected the highest accuracy models, which are Inception version 3. Our model system Inception was evaluated regarding its ability to discriminate the 3 stages classification of ROP from fundus images. The results showed that the system could achieve an accuracy of 99.5%. This is the architecture of the Inception version 3. And this is the table of performance evaluation of the highest 3 deep neural networks. Infants born prematurely and with low birth weights are more likely to suffer from retinopathy of prematurity. In this paper, it was applied 10 deep neural network architecture for detecting the stages of ROP in preterm infants. From these outcomes, it was selected the highest accuracy models, which are ResNet 152 and DenseNet 169, and the highest one, Inception version 3. The presented work of classifying ROP was successfully efficient by a ratio of 99.5 in detecting the stages of ROP. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for the presentation. I would request the chairperson if any of the questions for the speaker. Over to you.
Yeah, can you hear me, Nazar?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, have you performed any reliability test on dataset?
The data set is the real data set from the
reliability test on dataset. Reliability test. Do you know reliability test?
I can't understand, sorry.
Reliability test. Reliability test.
No, I don't. No.
No. Okay. Can you tell me which platform you have used for implementation?
I will use Google Colab and I choose Python.
Python. So how you have implemented this deep learning environment? Because deep learning requires maybe GPU or CUDA. So that was my question.
Yes, I make an environment and I choose Google Colab to make my models, to execution the models.
Okay, so what was the activation function you use?
Sorry.
Do you know which activation function you have used in your implementation?
Yes, I use Python.
Activation function.
I don't
No.
understand.
Okay. So have you done any pre-processing on the data set?
The data set?
Pre-processing on data set. Pre-processing.
Yes.
So what kind of pre-processing you have done?
Yes, I make an image size and also I make batch size and the epoch.
Dimension reduction. Okay, dimension reduction.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable presentation and your valuable time. Now, moving on to the next presentation, I would like to invite the next presenter, Isla Aguilar, and the paper title is Detection of Respiratory Disease Pattern Using Mask RCNN. Over to you, sir. I would request you to please share the screen and start the presentation.
Jayesh, I think this is last but one.
Sir, one more to go.
Yeah, one more to go. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Presentation. Okay.
So I would request you to please start sharing your screen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Isla Aguilar, the principal author. I'm from Universidad Simón Bolívar in Venezuela, and I had the pleasure of working with La Cruz Alexandra, Alberti Raúl, Carnier Martin, Cavida Liliana, and Severin Erika in this project, detection of respiratory disease patterns using MAGS RCNN. These are the principal points of what we are going to talk: a short introduction, implementation, results, and conclusions. First of all, the exam makes short introduction. Misinterpretation of pattern visualized on Chase computed tomography can lead to the misdiagnosis of the disease present. We can observe different kinds of error like perception, reasoning, or even lack of knowledge. Studies show error range between 10 and 25% recognizing pathological signs. The majority of them are perceptual errors. For this reason, we propose an automated detection process using convolutional neural networks. We want to support the medical staff by reducing analysis time and help them to establish an order of priority. Particularly, we focus on pulmonary nodules associated with tuberculosis and patients with metastases, and ground glass opacity associated with pneumonia and COVID-19. We also did a previous review of FASTER RCNN, RetinaNet, and MAX RCNN, like possible models and their performance using PyTorch. We decided to use MAX RCNN because it has the best performance, and we want to obtain the segmentation of the pattern, as well as the region of interest where the pattern is. We use two datasets to train, validate, and test our model. ModMed data is a database of the Diagnostic and Telemedicine Center of the Moscow Healthcare Department, Russia. It has many studies of patients with ground-glass opacity, but only 50 of them have the necessary cementation to train and test the model. On the other hand, we use 100 healthy studies, and each study has between 30 or 50 tomographic images. For LNDB is a dataset of São João Hospital and University Center in Porto, Portugal. We use 229 studies with pulmonary nodules of this dataset. All of them have the necessary cementation. And each study has approximately 300 tomographic images, and each one could be labeled by 1 or 3 radiologists. We prepare the data. The positive and negative images were separated in each study, and nodules labeled as false positive in NLDB dataset were discarded. ModMed data segmentation label was changed to identify different findings in an image. We performed image balancing by selecting random healthy images from each study and augmenting the ground glass opacity images with horizontal flip, 90-degree rotation, and a random degree rotation. Then images were distributed in training, validation, and test datasets in proportions 70, 20, and 10%. For the implementation, Tesla K80 GPU and PyTorch 1.1 with CUDA 9.0 were used. Particularly, we use the PyTorch class Max RCNN to provide flexibility in the choosing of the hyperparameters and backbone to be used. The desired model have to be able to detect the majority of the parents in an image. Therefore, we prioritize the sensitivity, it encompasses the specificity and the precision. Also, we have 30 different thresholds, intersection over union, IOU, to ensure the similarity in position and shape between the predicted parent and the actual parent. Non-maximum suppression, MNS, used to reduce the repeated predicted parents by grouping them together. And minimum output score defines the minimum certainty value to consider the output as a prediction. We perform a first simple training with 5 epochs, ResNet 50 FPM backbone to test the behavior of our threshold. First, in figure 311, we varied the output score between 0.3 to 0.7, keeping IOU and MNS in 0.5. As we can observe, we obtain a peak of sensitivity with an output score of 0.5. Precision increased because we demand greater certainty to consider the prediction. Then we varied the NMS threshold from 0.3 to 0.7, keeping IOU and output score in 0.5. We observe an increase in sensitivity between 0.3 and 0.5. For higher numbers, we obtain the same results. Finally, we varied the IOU threshold between 0.5 to 0.95. As we can imagine, if we increase the threshold requirement, we obtain lower results of sensitivity and precision because we demand more similarity in shape and location between the predicted parent and the actual parent. With this previous analysis, we decide to define all thresholds in 0.5 for the training process. For the training, we perform the following parameter variation in epochs, backbone, learning rate, optimizer, and learning rate decay. These are our best results with 20 epochs and a ResNet 50 FPM backbone. We obtain an average sensitivity of 47.42% and an average precision of 54.93% with the validation set. If we analyze the performance per backbone, we notice that ResNet 50 FPM was clearly superior to the rest of them. Finally, we proceed to analyze our model with the validation and tester set. First of all, we have to mention that the IO threshold defined previously is a bit demanding due to the fact that the final diagnosis of the specialist does not specify the exact location of the pathological sign. Radiologists usually localize parents based on quadrants, upper, middle, and lower, further subdivided into left or right lung. For this reason, from the radiologist's perspective, it may be sufficient to identify where the parent is, but it doesn't have to have the exact shape or location as the real one. We compare the results between an IO threshold of 0.5 and 0.05. As we can expect, we had better results with a lower threshold, obtaining a sensitivity of 81.89% and 92.66% in validation and test sets, respectively. For the other hand, we still get low scores for pulmonary nodules. Then we want to verify the ability of the model to classify images with these pathological signs. We define that true positive will be images in which the model detected at least 70% of the parent. If not, it is a false negative. False positive when the model detected a parent in a negative image, and true negative when it detected nothing in a negative image. In this way, we obtain a sensitivity greater than 82% for images with ground glass, low scores for images with nodules, and a specificity greater than 90% in all cases. We show an example of the prediction of the model. We check the same image with the best model, the obtained model in the first training, and the last stage of the model in the last training process. The best model performs the detection correctly, while the last model detects the parent, but also detects a false positive in the nodule examples. For this case, the first training was not able to detect the parent with a minimum output score of 0.5. However, when we decrease this threshold to 0.25, the model could identify the parent perfectly. For the case of...
Sorry for the interruption. This is a reminder message that you have 2 minutes more for your presentation. Over to you. Thank you.
Okay. For the case of ground glass opacity, all of them were able to detect the parent in these images. So we can conclude that the final diagnosis of the specialist does not show the exact location of the finding. According to this, it is possible to make the evaluation criteria more flexible and still support the experts. Sensitivity results for ground glass opacity were better than for pulmonary nodules detection. Specificity does not vary with different IO threshold. It remains above 90% in all cases. This represents that the model can identify which images are positive or negative. By decreasing the minimum output score, the architecture performs detection adequately, but may also decrease his ability to identify the correct parent. Finally, for the continuation of this project, we are going to increase the amount of data used to add robustness and security to the model, work with physicians in the region to increase the number of studies and parents. A comparison could be made between this model and other based on max RCNA or other detection and segmentation models, and perform a deeper analysis of the criterion evaluation criteria. Consider a different criterion of intersection over union. If the medical criterion only needs to determine if the finding is in a region of the lung area, IO overlap may not be necessary, and by lowering the threshold requirements, better results can be obtained, but this must meet the expectation of the specialist. I would like to thank Alumbra, GBBA, Universidad de Ibague, and Universidad Mobiliar for the help, and Thoraxe of Alumbra for the implementing the basis for this project. That's all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, sir. I would request the chairperson if any of the questions for the speaker.
Yeah, first of all, my comment would be good presentation and good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have first basic question. Why you selected mask RCNN?
Sorry, you can repeat?
Why you have selected
Why?
mask RCNN?
Well, we analyze the performance between different architectures or models like RedDynaNet, Faster RCNN, and Max RCNN. And we prefer use Max RCNN because we want to obtain also the segmentation of the model, because Faster and RedDynaNet only give us the region of interest, the bounding box of the parent, but we also want the segmentation. For the other hand, we can also compare this performance with the documentation of PyTorch, and they show that Max RCNN has better
Okay,
results.
have you done any experimentation to conclude on mask RCNN is better?
Sorry, what can you repeat?
Have you done any experimentation to conclude that mask RCNN is better, or you are referred from literature?
Well, we can we don't compare the implementation for different models. We also only prove Max RCNN, so we can
Okay,
conclude
okay,
that.
okay. Fine. There is one question in the chat box. Have you considered deep lab model?
No, it wasn't
Okay.
considered.
Fine, thank you. Good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Now
One,
moving on to the,
yeah, please continue.
now moving on to the next presenter, I would like to welcome Alexander Domidowski, and to represent this paper title is Bringing Explainability to Model Deployment Pipeline in Deep Learning Workbench. Over to
This
you,
is
sir.
Jayesh, last one, right?
Yes, this one is the last one.
Thank you. Last but not the least. Please start.
Yeah, let me share the screen then. So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. So yeah, thanks for the introduction. The topic today is bringing explainability to model deployment pipeline in deep learning Workbench. My name is Alexander Demidovsky, and I'm a PhD student at High School of Economics, Russia. But this work is mostly done with my colleagues from Intel Corporation, where I also work. This is the joint work of me, Tatiana Savina, Alexander Suvorov, Mikhail Fedorov, and Yuri Gorbachev. So the talk today is about explainability. So we all know that recent advances in the deep learning and in the computational power of modern machines allowed to make deep learning appearing in industrial applications. And at the same time, it becomes difficult to understand how those models really work. And this become critical when choosing whether to deploy a network to a business application or not. In short, the question is, can we trust artificial intelligence? So first of all, let's consider this point from the perspective of legal documents available in different countries. So here you can see several snippets of such documents from which you could see that the topic of building trustworthy systems, and especially if we're talking about artificial intelligence systems, is a requirement. So it is a requirement in European Union, and it is also recommended from different organizations such as the government of Canada or Russian IT companies. Also in China, there is quite a hard and obligatory thing of following the ethical norms of for new generation artificial intelligence systems. So if we take a look inside those documents, we would see that when a network, an artificial neural network, makes a decision, then humans need to be aware and understand how, generally speaking, the decision was made. So therefore, we have this as a requirement to be sure that the system that uses artificial neural networks is trustworthy enough for using it at scale. So what are the existing explainable AI methods? There are a lot of, but let me just name several of them. Most probably known. One of them is LIME, or local interpretable model agnostic explanations, then shape-led additive explanations. Of course, a very popular and powerful GradCam approach, and RISE. I would focus on RISE method at this talk, because it is really simple. It allows to work with a neural network as a black box, and it doesn't require training. When we're talking about model deployment, as it was stated at the topic of this talk, we cannot train the model. We can only ensure that it works properly, and we can only try to optimize it for the target hardware. So therefore, GradCam, for example, that requires access to model gradients and backpropagation would not be possible to use. So at the same time, if we try to understand where can we do such an analysis of neural networks, whether they are performant enough for the deployment use case, where we can optimize them and also check for the trustworthiness, we would understand that there are quite a few such platforms. For example, DSCI, Deep Learning Profiler, there is an optimizer and Asm board, and also an OpenVINO Deep Learning Workbench. From the analysis conducted, we can see that such platforms, except the OpenVINO Deep Learning Workbench, do not provide any capabilities of checking trustworthiness of model trained. So, and as I said, as it is a requirement from the government perspective and from companies' perspective, we need a platform that would allow us to perform such an analysis. And therefore, we focus in this talk and we use Deep Learning Workbench, which is a part of OpenVINO ecosystem, a framework that is specifically designed for boosting neural networks inference. So this is a rich UI that is available in the internet, in the Docker Hub as a standalone web application. And we will use this for the methodology that we propose in this paper. So in particular, we propose to follow this methodology, which consists of 8 steps, by following which we would be able to get a reliable and performant model. So let's take it one by one and understand each step in detail. So the first step is model selection. This is where we select the model and where we understand where is the model from. Well, the model can be in-house trained, it can be agency trained, or publicly available. If we consider the case when we want to use some publicly available model in production, we could consider some trained by community or trained by vendors. And in both cases, there is such a powerful zoo that consists of more than 200 models delivered by Intel that can be used out of shelf in production systems. So once we have selected a model, for example, a model which is a fishing net, we can proceed to the second step, which is selecting the target environment. And here we need to carefully align with business requirements and understand what is our target accelerator. And of course, it is better to use some specific solutions for inference of neural networks on this hardware. For example, OpenVINO, TensorRT, TVM, or XLA. And once we understood our business requirements for the hardware, we can evaluate model performance, which is both inferencing performance and accuracy performance. Often we can see in practice that performance of the model is only considered as one of them, but we insist on accessing performance as both inference and accuracy. So for example, for a fishing net PyTorch model, we have obtained such results in Deep Learning Workbench. And after that, according to the proposed methodology, we can evaluate model trustworthiness by using RISE as a black box technique. So here at the right, you can see the result of such technique, where the heat map shows what is the main attention of the model. And here we can clearly understand that the model detected that this is a RAM, because of the face of this animal. So after we have understood that our model is accurate enough and it can be trustworthy, now we can try to optimize the model. And here is plenty of methods. And as we are now talking about model deployment, we cannot train the model. Therefore, there are such methods as shape reduction or 8-bit quantization that is also available as a part of OpenVINO framework. And as a result, we can get such a huge performance boost up to 4x and 4x smaller memory size. So once the optimization is done, we can evaluate, and we should evaluate its performance characteristics. Again, latency, throughput, and accuracy. Here you can see the comparison of the original model and the optimized model. And after that, we evaluate the trustworthiness of the model. And here we can see that the floating point model, the original model, was quite accurate in focus how to make the decision. And here the optimized model, as this is a loss optimization, started to detect some unnecessary parts of the image, but still keeping the face of the animal as a central decision-making step. If we saw a different different picture here, we could understand that optimized model is not trustworthy and cannot be used in production. And the final step is actually integrating the model into the application, where we need to, first of all, adapt the application for the target accelerator. Then we need to integrate the inferencing runtime in the application. And finally, we need to bundle the runtime with the deployment phase. For example, as a part of the OpenVINO Workbench that we use here for the experiments, we have obtained a 14 megabytes OpenVINO runtime for the CPU target, which could be several times reduced even more if we compile runtime for the particular model. So to sum up, the proposed methodology insists on using the trustworthiness evaluation as an inseparable step of model deployment pipeline. So this methodology consists of 8 consequent steps. And after that, at each step, you could control the quality of your model. Also, this methodology helps you to understand, comprehend, and improve deep learning models while preparing them for the deployment. And finally, we can conclude that OpenVINO Deep Learning Workbench is a nice platform that allows you to perform experimenting with your model and also evaluating its quality before going to the production. That's practically it. Thank you for attention. I'm glad to answer your questions.
Yes, good presentation.
Thank you.
I have a fundamental question. How would you measure accuracy of explainable AI?
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you, Professor. Well, to this moment, there are several ways of evaluating the quality of the model depending on its interpretation. There are several ways. For example, you could take an approach like LIME and build some linear, simple machine learning system that is highly interpretable, and you can see the outcomes. But in our case, when we are using RISE, the only way to this moment to evaluate the trustworthiness of the model is by making it as a human check. So by visually identifying the focus. But certainly this could be a direction for further research here.
So this OpenVINO is the open source platform which you have used?
The OpenVINO that we use for experiments is an open source framework for accelerating deep learning neural networks, inferencing speed on various types of hardware. And the deep learning workbench, which is a UI system, is a part of ecosystem of OpenVINO, and it is distributed as a web application.
Great, great. Thank you. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all your wonderful time and your valuable time. Now, ending to the session, I sincerely thank our author for the excellent presentation, contribution in this session and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. All the presenters will be getting their digital certificate through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already been forwarded to the Springer. The publication will be live within 5 to 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of ICICT 2022. I also thank our session chair, Dr. Parikshit Mahale, for chasing this session. And I would like for a token of appreciation to the chair on behalf of the team ICICT 2022 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I would request you to make any closing remarks for the session.
Thank you, Jayesh, and thank you all the presenters. All the presentations were very nice, and the way you have presented was really wonderful. However, there are some comments to all the presenters when you present your entire research in very short time. Then you need to plan your presentation with respect to what is the problem you identified, and then what is the methodology, and there should be more discussion on results and discussion. However, all presenters did very good job, and you can see now most of the papers, most of the research was on this AI, deep learning, and machine learning. So this is how the world is moving. So once again, I would like to congratulate all the presenters for their wonderful presentation. And I would also like to thank team ICICT 2022 for wonderfully hosting this conference at London, and wish you all the very best. Thank you, Jayesh.
Thank you for your valuable presence, sir. And this is the end of the session. Before ending the call, I would kindly request all to on the cameras for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference for the memories. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.